Hey there, Megan Jansen, owner of Employee Wellness Solutions Network. Today I'm very excited to have Brian Hughes as my guest as we continue the discussion of employee and corporate wellness. Brian, thanks so much for being on today and helping us with this mission of elevating the profile.
Fantastic, great to be here, and always on for a good mission. So let's
Thank you, Brian. You're Vice President Human Resources at Canadian Bearings, and you've been in the HR role for a while. You've also understand the importance of a healthy culture and a healthy workplace. Share with me your thoughts on wellness in the workplace, taking a more of a proactive approach than a reactive one. What are your insights on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And one thing that I found through my tenure as an HR executive is that the more proactive you are in taking care of your well-being and really taking steps and having a goal in mind and starting with the end in mind, particularly your health and well-being, you have a much longer, impact, sustainable impact on your success in trying to maintain wellness and your well-being overall as well, in the sense that you're actually putting the most important things first, which is yourself and your health, which impacts everything else. You're being very proactive to take steps to actually sustain it and to make it a habit. And that's one of the key things, I think, being proactive is if you have a vision where you want to get to, you know you're not there yet, there's a gap, subconsciously, I've learned, your body and your mind want to close that gap. So the more clear you are on where you want to get to, the more proactive you are, and you take steps to actually move towards that vision that you've created for yourself, the more effective it's going to become for your own success as an individual, as well as your performance on the job.
I love that. So you're talking really about self-care and that, you know, people really recognizing that they need to take care of themselves. If we were to take that and look at that at the workplace setting, we were to look at a wellness program, having much more of a preventative focus than a reactive one. Do you have any insights on discussions around that? Is that prevention, health promotion piece of a wellness program in cultures versus just waiting until something happens?
No, most definitely. And what I've discovered having implemented similar programs throughout my career is that keeping it on the radar on a consistent, repeatable manner, it makes you stay conscious of it, because it's something easy to slip away. You get into your day-to-day, you get busy at work, things happen out of your control. This is one thing if it's proactively out there in front of people and they're seeing it all the time, and it's almost like the drip theory where you drip it in every little bit every so often and keep it fresh and current and very visible. Therefore you can't not think about it. So sometimes it's not subconscious, but you have to make it conscious, and I think that's really where the steps are, and having a program that really promotes the benefits of health and life, then the more effective it's going to be for the long term. So you're not scrambling if a crisis happens. You're more even prepared to deal with it if it does happen. But most likely, it's less likely to happen if you actually take care of yourself from the beginning.
From the beginning, and that proactive piece is important. In terms of your role, productivity is important in your work. Share with me different ways in which you as an HR professional do measure, one, success, and two, productivity in your workplace.
Right. Yeah. Well, one of the most measurable things that I've seen happen by implementing a wellness program, actually your program in a previous life, is that we were monitoring our sick time, and when billable time was very important, if people aren't working, they're not generating revenue. We actually were able to reduce our average sick time by 2.5 days within 12 months. That is a significant improvement in performance, productivity, revenue generation, just by promoting wellness, being proactive about it, keep it in front of people, doing exercises, things like that are going to keep, not physical exercises, programs and so forth, as well as exercising, has really impacted the true productivity of the organization. So that's one that's pretty specific to all companies. If I may share one other thing that I'm doing in my current responsibility is around culture evolution and the productivity of having a constructive culture. And we measure that, and we've measured it in 2015. We just measured it just late last year. So we have a 2-year progress report. And the focus has been on personal development, training your brain, being well, focusing on your wellness, and just dripping in information on a daily basis, more around brain training, but a lot of it tied to your mindset, your outlook on life, just being healthy from a mental perspective, and being conscious about where you're at has significantly improved our culture to being more affiliative, being more encouraging. People are achieving more. The conversation's happening. There's some fun stuff happening in the organization with some of the programs and that we actually drip out to people, like I said, on a daily basis. And I've seen and I contribute a lot of that to subconsciously developing people's brain and consciousness to be aware of who they are, how they're being, how they're thinking, how they're performing. And the information that we've been dripping out on a day-to-day basis, again, I think is directly attributable to our improvement in our constructive culture. So I have a very macro measurement that I've used, and to the point where we actually were awarded, we're given an award for merit because of the impact that we've had on our culture relative to that constructive nature.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on that. That is amazing. And having those measurables is an important part as well. So you're able to track some of those things that you're really wanting to. In terms of another benefit of wellness, and you and I have talked about this before in the sense of attraction and retention of talent. Share with me a little bit again your insights on that side of wellness, a healthy culture. I mean, that's an important piece of the puzzle when it comes to attracting that talent to come work for you.
Right, right. That's a great question, and talent attraction is one of our biggest challenges even today, and has been for the last decade from my perspective. And really focusing on individuals, their performance, their growth, their well-being, really differentiates an organization. And if you can demonstrate how you actually support that, like we have education funding, we have health funding support and subsidies that help people stay focused on that, and we promote that within the organization. And it really does differentiate an organization to really make yourself more attractive as an employer of choice, because if the people and the individuals feel you're going to take care of them, whether it's emotionally, wellness-wise, career-wise, personal development-wise, just being a nice person in an affiliative culture, it really does help draw in the right kind of people to fit. And really that's what really makes or breaks a new hire, and their interest and their long-term commitment to the organization. And I believe that a focus on individuals' health and well-being is a huge contributor to the success of attracting the right kind of talent.
Absolutely. It's absolutely. I mean, we really can see how bringing in a new person into a culture that is already working and healthy and accepting and ensuring that they are part of the team, I think that really goes a long way. And congratulations to Canadian Bearings to have that, and to have someone like yourself that's really behind this, and your executive team as well. Brian, any other final thoughts on wellness, workplace culture, anything else you'd like to add as we tie up our discussion today?
No, I think the only thing I would summarize by is sort of creating that sort of safe place for people to be a little bit vulnerable, and focusing on their own well-being and their growth, I think is very important. So creating the space for a dialogue for someone to come in and say, I'm really struggling, to their manager. What kind of support will the organization give me? Whatever that is, whether it's training or just coaching or just some space, time off, whatever it is. If it really is truly a commitment to the individual's health and well-being to drive performance for the individual and success for the individual, I think that's really critical. And that mindset or that mental model has to exist to create that safe space. If that doesn't exist, then people aren't going to be as committed to it or as open to really try to attend to their well-being, when we all can sometimes fall off the rail and get off track, and we need help and support. That environment is foundational to whatever you choose to do.
Excellent. Brian, it's been a pleasure learning more, and always learning more about what you're doing and how you're doing it. And it's been a pleasure chatting today about this huge topic of health promotion in our workplaces. Thanks so much, Brian.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.